Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who it is. Right out of the gate, season 1,000 of Homemaker Chic
Bajillion.
podcast. We're so happy to be back with you.
Yay! I think it's season 22.
Angela, hello.
Just so you know. Hi. Season 22. 22 is my favorite
Angela's
number.
favorite number.
Yep. Oh, you knew that. How precious.
I did know that.
Why
Why is it your favorite number?
Well, it's because it's my birthday. It's 22. I'm July 22nd, and I just like it. I just like the number. When I see it, it pleases me. I don't know. It's just like some people really are into numbers. I know some people like 4 and they like 7, and I don't know. There's something about 22. I just always liked it. So
You feel good. She feels good at 22.
Good. Yeah. And then when Taylor Swift did that song, it made me like super happy.
Yeah.
I use it on every birthday.
I said something about Taylor Swift, and I wasn't saying anything against Taylor Swift.
Oh, I saw that.
All I said was that I'm not, like, personally, I don't enjoy her music at all.
None of it, but like not a song.
I'm sorry, you
not
guys.
A song. You never like bebop to an Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, I did back in the day when she was country. I listened to her, but I was
that's when I couldn't do her. I was like, oh,
I think I was 18 or something at the time, and had a lot of bad music choices. So that is not saying anything. But no, it's just not my cup of tea. I don't care what you listen to. Listen to what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
But
did you shake the Swifties up when you said that?
Yeah, I did. All I said was like, I'm not a fan of her music, but I do really appreciate as an artist how she's constantly reinventing herself. People are never quite sure where she's going next, and then it will happen. And, you know, I think initially that was hard for people to like accept the fact that she's kind of like Madonna or Beyonce. Like she doesn't like to stay in a particular category.
Yeah, I think your big name, like, I mean, I remember growing up, Madonna was always doing that.
Yeah.
And then that was something I really dug about Gwen Stefani. She's like, what about it? So I want to design fashion. I'm going to design fashion. And guess what? I'm going to have a solo album. And guess what? You can get over it. And guess what? I'm going to reunite with my band. And guess what? I'm still awesome in my red lipstick. I mean, I love her. Like, I saw your post, and Taylor Swift's like she's not like, she's had like some things happen to her professionally, and she's just kind of made lemons out of lemonade, really.
Oh, for sure. And nothing against her.
Yeah, no, it's impressive.
As a person.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, that was kind of my point, was people were like, well, that's not a real like straighten each other's crown moment, Shay. Like, you should kind of be ashamed of saying that.
Oh gosh, we don't have to all like each other.
Well, I don't not like her. I don't enjoy that music. I don't enjoy listening to Korn either. Okay. Like, it's not what I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Like, you can listen to Korn if you want. Is Korn even still a band? I don't know.
I don't know. I just can see the logo. It was always like so like satanic or something.
It was like the most alt group I could think of.
Right.
Was Korn.
Alt group. Oh my gosh. You're so old. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm dating myself here. But that's what was kind of what I was getting at, was just like, am I allowed to have a preference of music?
Oh, I
think I am.
A lot of music that people are, I don't like the Beatles, and I know that's sacrilegious.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Not at all. Not a song, not nothing. Like, when they come on, I'm like, please stop. I know. And I know that's like, we lost like half of our audience. I mean, seriously, people are so patriotic about that, but no, everybody's got their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to like everything. And just
you don't have to like everything.
But it's kind of this like culture thing that because she's a woman, you need to support her.
Yes. No, I don't.
So silly, because she doesn't care about you, Shay.
She doesn't?
No.
Oh my gosh.
She doesn't care if you like her music or not.
I got a spam email the other day inviting me on Travis Kelce's podcast. They're like, Travis is really interested in homesteading, and he would really like to have you on his podcast. I was like, would he now?
Oh my gosh.
Even after the Taylor Swift comment? I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so funny. No, hey, homemakers, here's some refreshing news for your Monday morning, season 22 premiere of Homemaker Chic podcast. You can like what you want to like. You are an individual.
Yeah. And on today's topic, you can change. Maybe
You can
Taylor Swift is going to
change.
drop a song next year and Shay's going to be like, that's my jam. You never know.
Maybe. Maybe. I'm open to it. Um, I'm open to it. But we use a word in our house a lot called twaddle. Thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte
Thank
Mason.
you, Miss Mason.
And I heard Juliet drop it to one of her brothers yesterday, and she goes, Mom says we can't listen to that song. This was a different song, by the way, not a Taylor
Okay.
song.
Okay.
Owen goes, Well, why not? She goes, Because it's twaddle. So, twaddle, for those of you who don't know, it means it's just kind of pointless. It's just cheap. It's like your fast food, your candy, your quick
Twaddle,
hit
yeah.
nonsense.
Twaddle is like,
It's
for
twaddle.
you moms with toddlers, it's like modern Thomas the Tank Engine versus vintage Thomas the Tank Engine. Claymation, or whatever it is. Thomas the
Yeah.
Tank Engine. That's like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But people
Moms,
are really
hold
really
on. Hold
dogmatic.
on.
Okay, finish.
Moms, if you have young children, I want you right now to go and buy, if you got to do Amazon Prime or YouTube Premium or whatever it is, go buy every Kipper the dog episode you can ever get your hands on. It is the best kids show. It's a white background and little hand-drawn Kipper, and it's Martin Clune, he's British.
Really.
He was the doctor in that. Oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, Kipper the dog. I think the show's just called Kipper. It's the best. So if your kids need a little something new, give that a try.
Do they still watch it?
My kids know.
Yeah.
It's for little kids.
Okay, what did your kids used to always watch back in the day when you and I would talk?
Wild
You'd be like,
Kratts?
Wild Kratts. Yep.
Wild Kratts is a good one.
That's what it was. You guys want to watch Wild Kratts?
It's not twaddle. It's great
Yeah.
education. There's some shows that do such a good job. And there's some that are just garbage.
Oh, yeah.
You're dumber for watching them. Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. You said something about
it was not
being
of
dogmatic.
much consequence.
Okay.
My sister told me this story. We compare homeschooling notes. You know, we both are Charlotte Mason, Ambleside, whatever. And I'm assuming she's more like vocal in chat groups. I'm not in any like Ambleside groups or whatever. But she was talking about, I think, like exposing her kids to like Shakespeare with pictures, like books for the small children. And people get really, really dogmatic when it comes to twaddle. They told her, she had other mothers tell her that was twaddle. She's like, you need to calm down. Okay. I can barely understand Shakespeare. I love it. But if I want to show my 5-year-old Shakespeare with pictures, that's going to be okay.
Yes. Yes. That's not the kind of twaddle we're talking about.
Not at all.
All right. Okay, we're jumping into season 22. We like to give you a little theme every once in a while. It's something you can just kind of chew on for the next few months because this season of Homemaker Chic podcast is going to take us through the end of the year. We're going to go through the beginning of December.
Yep. And we'll take
middle of December.
Yep.
And we'll take Christmas off to be with our families. So this is the holiday season. This is like Q4, end of the year, end of the road. And you're going to need to chew on something to make it through these next 3 or 4 months because for most people in modern day America, these are very full weeks.
These are trying times.
Extra trying this year, I would say. I don't know if anyone else feels like kind of just going to bury their head in the sand, like maybe somewhere in Mexico. I don't know, for 3 or 4 months and then coming back. My parents actually, they never leave. They never leave.
Okay.
They're leaving. My dad retired last year and they're sort of gaining their sea legs with travel. So they're going to Mexico for a week over my mom's birthday. It also happens to be over election day. And she was just like, well, I hope we can make it back. We'll see what happens. Two Americans at the border, just not like, can we come home? Is it safe in there?
Maybe not. Maybe the extended visa.
We will see. So this podcast season, we're going to talk about staying the course.
Mm.
So I was lamenting to Angela yesterday. I know we don't really deep dive into business here on the podcast. That's not what this podcast is for. But Angela and I are both business owners. And I was whining, maybe that's a better word, to her the other day that Stu and I have never really caught in our 15-year business career of owning the Elliott homestead. There's never been like a lightning in the bottle kind of a moment. You know, and I cannot tell you how many times in the last 6 months people have come up to me knowing what we do and say, "Oh, do you know Ballerina Farm? Do you know Ballerina Farm?" Yes, I know Ballerina Farm. I don't
Yes,
know her
we were all
personally.
in the
Again,
Wall Street Journal together. Thank you.
nothing.
Remember that embarrassing little piece of journalistic history?
That was the no, that wasn't the Wall Street Journal. It
Yes,
was
it was. It was the Wall Street Journal.
was it?
You and I and her and maybe Jill, the four
I
of
don't
us.
remember.
Like
When were we in the Wall
2
Street
years
Journal?
ago, we were. We were in the Wall Street Journal, girlfriend.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
my point is, I think she started doing what she's doing in 2022.
What is she doing? I don't really pay
20
attention.
2021. I'm not fully sure. But
Okay.
my point is we started in
Oh, I see
2010.
your point. Yes.
So like she caught man, COVID, sourdough, sexy little home mom, bunch of kids. She caught it, man. It was lightning in a bottle. It was the right thing at the right time in the right way, and people devoured it, and she exploded. And you see this happen all the time with movie. It's like Tiger King during COVID. It was just like that was lightning in a bottle, man. Like
Right.
you couldn't have tried to do that. It
Yeah.
just, for all intents and purposes, it was just magic. Stu and I have never had a moment like that.
No,
But
no,
what
I
we
have
do
empty wine
have,
bottles, Shay. I mean,
there ain't no lightning in there. Just what we do have is freaking tenacity
yeah.
because we are still here, just crawling every day to the finish line. I don't even know what the finish line is. It's too far away to see.
Yeah.
That's what we always remind each other. Like, we might not be able to do things well, but dang it, we just get up every day and stay the course. And I am trusting in this like turtle hair analogy that we rely on. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. It's not the destination, it's the journey, Shay.
Well, it
That's how you
doesn't feel
become
like
along the
that
way.
when you're trying to pay your bills.
No, it doesn't. Could you put that in writing for my mortgage company?
Yes. Don't worry, mortgage company.
It's not
The
the Elliott Homestead.
journey.
They're on a journey.
No, my point in all of that, ladies, is that I know a lot of you feel the same. And I know
Mm-hmm.
because you email us and you message us on Instagram, we know a lot of you, we talk to a lot of you. And I also know just because you're a human that things
Mm-hmm.
probably haven't always gone according to plan on the timeline that you wanted them to be on. And sometimes that is so defeating. It's
Yeah.
so defeating.
So what do you think that's going to look like for us this season? I mean, just are we going to go through the home? Are we going to go through routines? Are we going to look at the holidays? I mean, there's a lot of fortitude involved in this season. There's a lot of grit. That's one of my favorite words is grit. Uh, and it does take like an eye on the prize type of a thing to stay the course. But I do think there's like an acceptance to that, like the prize isn't necessarily coming. Not to sound like really negative, but like we do talk on this show about like it's
Mm-hmm.
not about like arriving.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being able to maintain because there's not like this point. Like you're not like guaranteed to be a millionaire or your husband's not going to necessarily get successful enough that you can get a housekeeper. Like it's not always going to just pan out to be better. It isn't better. What if it isn't better?
No.
What if it dips? It will dip. It's going to dip for all of us. Like, so it will be interesting, I think, to see how, first of all, how the ladies respond to what we just said, like this idea of our topic for the season and sort of where we take it.
Hmm. No, I think you're exactly right, Angela, because think about last season we had Christy on. We'll have Christy back. We're hoping to have Darla back. We're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer back. We have some people that we're gonna have on to expand this idea. But think about something like having Christy on and talking about gut health or talking about, we've had Coach Paul on and talked about exercise. Staying the course in exercise looks like basically doing what you can until you're dead.
Right? It's not like you're not like gonna just hit, I know a lot of people, we have such like a weight driven culture. So they like, oh, everything will be better once I lose 12 pounds. Yeah, and then what? I mean, that's
Yeah.
not like what working out is about. Working out is about working out till you die.
Yeah. And laundry, that's not going to
Always gonna
stop
be
when you're
there.
50.
Right. Right.
Cleaning your house, cooking food, caring for the people around you. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know about you, Angela, but I am laying the grandchildren seeds s-
Oh
pretty
yeah, girl.
abundantly,
Oh yeah.
you know?
No
And I'm
pressure.
just like, I want you to know that kids are a blessing. I'm sorry for what I'm about to say if it's a bit of a rabbit trail. I am so sick of living in a culture that looks at children as just burden. It makes me so angry.
Shay, I was just listening to a comedian the other day, and he was being so straightforward. Like, he was being facetious, or maybe that's not even the right word. Ab- Abrasive. I don't know. He goes, like, remember back, okay, I'm summing this up very poorly, right? But remember back in the day, like when I was a preteen or whatever, it was like Whitney Houston, children are the future. Like, who is even talking about the children anymore?
Oh, no one cares about
He was
them.
saying like everybody's focused on AI and global warming. Like, who the heck is even talking about children? They're given a phone at 4 and a bag of sugar, and nobody's even talking about the children anymore. Nobody's
And
looking at the children as our future. They're like, oh, good luck with this they're ripping on the generations, they're ripping on their attention span. Like, no one is talking about the children.
well, some people are. In some cultures, yeah, we're talking about them. I mean, again, excuse the crassness here, but we have a saying in my church, if it's not crying, it's dying.
Yeah, right?
Okay? Like, I want nothing more than crying babies in my church service.
Sometimes when
Bring
my
them
kids
in.
complain, I'm like, that's a good thing. That
Bring them
is a
in.
good thing.
And so you can enjoy that. I don't know. I know this steps on people's toes, but I don't care. Our children are the future. They are. The next generation and the generation after that is the future of mankind. We are going to grow old
Hmm.
and our skin is going to sag and we're going to become very unsexy and we're
Right.
going to become not as capable of contributing to society as we are now. And my point in all of this, I told you it was going to be a rabbit trail
Right.
as I am planting those seeds with my children. I'm like, listen, have you some babies. Just bring them over. Let me feed them. Let me squish their little faces. I already love them so much. And
Hmm.
they're not even close to being here yet. But why did I start that tangent?
I don't know, but
Oh,
it's so
like
good.
just raising children. Okay.
Yeah. The
My
work,
mom jokes like I'm sorry, you think they turn 18 and then you're done? Uh-uh.
oh, the worries are bigger.
When you're a parent, you are staying the course for
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you're
Yep.
absolutely right. This is the destination is death.
Hmm.
That is literally where this road leads. And you might not like that, but that's where it goes for everybody.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we're talking about, like cultivating peace in your home,
Mm-hmm.
cultivating your health, staying the course when it comes to just keeping your home and discipline in it and keeping our emotions in check and
Mm.
raising our children and staying the course with school. Homeschooling moms, I see you out there. Holy
Ole
cow.
mole. Yeah.
Um, all of those things have no end.
Yeah. The destination is death. Oh my gosh. I guess
I'm
that's not a
sorry,
really
is that
like
more?
saleable podcast season title.
Season
Season
22.
24. The destination is death.
But
But
it's
it's
true.
true. How do you want to get there? You want to do it good?
It's true. Um, death is funny because speaking about how nobody is speaking of the children anymore, no one speaks of death.
No, not like with that. Like what's our buddy that we had on that wrote
Brian
the book about the
Kozlowski.
Queen, Brian. When he really addresses that chapter in the book about the Queen, about her pragmatic view of her mortality and having to practice her funeral and just like the constant acknowledgement that it was coming. And I don't even mean like in the last 3 years. I mean
Mm-hmm.
like the whole time. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't live in that culture, man, at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I had a really great talk with Dolores once, Southern Italian family, her parents both from the Naples area. And when her dad passed suddenly, she explained to me the process that Southern Italian women, the grieving process that they will go through. And I've heard tales of, the way that different cultures handle death, from the Southern Italians to like Amish communities, the way that they manage it and the different, oh, thank you, the different sort of rituals that they
Mm,
have. And there are some of these that I really love. I mean, not that we need to have an episode on like death rituals, but that's something that is coming. It's inevitable, and it's like you need to be trained for it in some ways. You need,
mm-hmm.
like Stu says, you need to have that theology in place before you have to give an account for it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you live with this horrible feeling of dread all the time. It's actually quite liberating to know what a small cog in the wheel you are in terms of humanity. It's
Right.
really, I think it can be a really beautiful and comforting thing.
Mm.
And I often think I think it's a church in Spain that has all of the human bones built into the walls. Have you heard of this? And it has a beautiful banner above, and it says, "As you are, we once were,
Mm-hmm.
and as we are, you will become." What a reminder before you go in to worship. Like, you think your worries are big? Hey, we used to be human too. We used to be here, flesh and blood in the same way. Um, Sorry, homemakers, we are taking you down some trails. This is what happens when we don't talk for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
All these
right.
thoughts just sit up here, and then they have to come out in some way.
Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause because we have a new season sponsor to share with you. I mean, they're not new. You know them, you love them. If you don't love them yet, it's just because you don't know them well enough yet. And so you need to remember this Fall Chic 20 at AmericanBlossomLinens.com. If you've been listening to the show for years and you still don't have these sheets on your bed, these blankets in your linen closet, keeping you cozy this winter, I'm like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
All right.
honestly, I am getting myself some new ones for Christmas, by the way.
Okay.
That's the time. I'm in my bed more than any other time of year.
My favorite is that herringbone
Oh,
blanket. I
oh,
love, well, because I like heavy blankets,
I like heavy
but
blankets
it's not
too.
like sweltering. I
Mhm.
love that blanket.
I have the blue
So
one on my bed. I love it.
here's the scoop. They're the season sponsor for season 22. Janet is a good friend of mine. She's coming on one of my Paris trips next year. They are just a fabulous company. Everything, you've heard me say that everything they do is American. So the cotton is grown here. The factory is here. Um, this is something I didn't know. I was talking to her the other day, and she said that made in American bedding is really important for for those of us who like really want to support American businesses as much as possible, when you're looking at imported products, like, in your Amazon cart or whatever, they are taking an 8,000-mile trip from India or China or wherever. Heavy fuel is involved, carbon intensive fuels, greenhouse gases, all that. I mean, I know there's this idea that, I mean, obviously it's not up to us to fix the problem, but if you want to be a part or just put your, some of us do have, I have convictions about what I buy, about how much plastic I buy or where my products are coming from or how they're made. And so this is the kind of company that you want to partner with. And this idea of everything being disposable, we talk about that all the time about um, having things that last, choosing really good quality items. And so the great thing about these sheets, I've got kids, they're really hard on bedding, really, really hard on bedding. My boys, I always say they have like rooster spurs, like on, on their heels. They're always like grinding this hole. They were grinding these holes in their sheets. But American Blossom are woven so sturdy, they're woven to last a lifetime. So I live in a vacation community, and Joel is a part-time manager at one of our big resorts in the area. And so he handles a lot of bedding. He receives it and then passes it on to the cleaning ladies. Okay. And a few weeks ago, I was out of town. I left him a stack of clean sheets. I'm like, can you please change the bedding on our bed? And he texted me. This is like this is a guy. Joel's like not gonna gush over something, right? He said, he's like, holy cow. He goes, I handle a lot of bedding and these sheets are amazing. It's like, I know I sleep on them every night, but I never really realized until I like held them in my hands and put them on the bed how amazing these sheets are. And I thought that really said a lot for like a husband to notice the quality. It was just really, really cool. So as you are considering about changing your bed over and joining us in the American Blossom family, you're going to use the code FALLSHAKE20. And I want you to know that they always have free shipping and they have a 2-year happiness guarantee. So it's a 2-year risk-free trial. So yes, they are going to be a little more than an Amazon sheet that's been shipped over from some other country. However, we're talking about not having to replace them.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep. I'm so excited that they're here for season 4. And ladies, send that link and the code to your husband and say, this is what I want you to get me for
Right?
Christmas.
Just send the link.
Or get your mom some or your kids some. Yeah, go have fun. I'm so glad they're going to be here. Thanks, Janet, for sponsoring season 22. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we mean by staying the course. So, most of us have short-term goals,
Mm-hmm.
and those ones are quite a bit easier to stay connected to.
Yeah, you
Staying
get
the
to tick the
course,
box faster,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's way more satisfying. Some of the courses that we're talking about, and we will be talking about further on in this season, are very long courses indeed. So, like a lot of our listeners I know have jobs outside the home and they're looking at decades left in their working career. Even stay-at-home moms. I remember when our kids were little and I just thought, how can I do this for the next 20 years? This is so hard.
Right.
We've already touched on homeschooling moms, but I also know that we have listeners who are caring for ailing family members or children with really deep, hard difficulties, lifetime difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the staying in the course is and can be quite humorous and fun, right? We make a laundry schedule and we stick with it. And we give ourselves a little gold sticker when we haven't gotten behind for 6 weeks.
Right.
But dang, some of this staying the course doesn't mean that we do it perfectly.
Yeah.
But it's, in my mind, I'm just like, is the ship pointed in the right direction? That's kind of my goal with some of
Mm-hmm.
these longer term things. So it's easy, I think, to kind of just, it's easy to get off course. And so part of it is sort of recognizing what the goal is and course correcting. So that doesn't mean you do things perfectly. And I think that's probably the distinguishing point to be made here is that staying the course doesn't mean you never get slightly off track.
Yeah, I think when we use expressions like staying the course, like there's instantly this feeling of rigidity,
Yeah.
you know? And I think if there's one thing we've really come to terms with, even you and I, as like maturing women, is this concept of evolving and like things changing and nuance. Staying the course doesn't mean that you're just like tunnel vision until the day you drop. I think
I
it's
think
more
such
like
a perfect example of that is Dave Ramsey. We talked about him briefly last season. Like, think about the home budget. Okay. You have an amount, you have a goal, have a budget that fits within this dollar amount. But every 3 months, every 6 months or a year, or every promotion or job change, you have to completely reassess that.
right.
And he always says, like, you manage your money or your money manages you. So it seems really rigid to feel like you have to account for every dollar. But what you come to realize is that in the discipline of doing that, there's actually a ton of freedom.
Hmm.
So is that what you kind of mean with the evolving aspect of
Yeah.
things?
Yeah, I think that when I think there is, I feel like there can be a knee-jerk reaction to like some podcast rolling out a season saying, "Hey, this season we're going to talk about staying the course." And it just feels so locked in and it can feel rigid and what but to sort of reflect on what you just the Dave Ramsey analogy you just used, when we look at the different chapters in our life, they're going to change. Staying the course when you're 20 compared to when you're 40 is totally different, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
and the older you get, staying the course for me 15 years from now when like my mom is older and needs help, like that's totally different. And the sort of whether it's how I care for myself so that I can care for her, that's all going to be different, so it's not like I don't think we're going to come into this season with like a checklist because there is so much nuance, and I think it's more of a heart posture, which I feel like we always come back to, you know
Yeah. I think yes to everything you just said. Life is naturally going to force you to evolve.
hmm
You don't really have a choice.
And that is staying the course.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So staying the course is staying the course is responding to the call to evolve. I think we forget. I think we think, okay, I got to stay this way. I got to stay. I got to stay. I got to stay. Dut, 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 dut,
Yeah.
dut. And and we forget to respond to what's actually
Mm.
happening around us.
Have you ever had a moment that you can think of that you would like to share with the class? Thanks, honey. About moments maybe where you just made a big decision in your home that did pivot things, that did change things, where you said, okay, now this course looks different. Now staying the course looks like the Reed household moving in this direction. Like
Mm,
the goalpost has shifted. Can you think of things like that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe upon contemplation, not
Okay.
not like
I
a
did just
knee-jerk
spur that upon you. Okay.
reaction. I think because more what I'm trying to do is look at each day or each week or each month and go, how does this need to, because I'm pretty cognizant, pretty aware of the fact that things don't stay the same.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm approaching my days or my months or my weeks or whatever going, how does this need to happen now
Hmm.
if we're staying the course? What it can't be the same as it can never be the same as it was. moms of toddlers. Like an 18-month-old is really different than a 36-month-old. You know, so you're still staying the course, but you had to change. You
Mm-hmm.
had to change your approach. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you're training children to eat healthy, like you're staying the course, but then all of a sudden they're bigger and they need a lot more. And so you're still staying the course, but you gotta have snacks because, yeah.
And
So,
you're still staying the course, and then you're saying to your teenagers, okay, and now it's time for you to take a step in freedom. And I'm not going to monitor every bite you put into your mouth. And we're
right.
going to have to start practicing self-control and discernment and wisdom.
So
And
staying the course looks like,
so
for
staying the
me,
course looks
going
like
like,
actually maybe going backwards.
yeah, or like, okay, so I'm staying the course. And that is not me feeding it to you, but it's me saying, well, this is why you have a headache.
Yeah.
So what did I tell
You say those
you?
things too?
Yes, I do.
Have you have you just carbo loaded today? How much protein have you had?
Right. Exactly. I am
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Were you like playing on your
Mm-hmm.
phone till 1:30? It's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be in the basket in the kitchen. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think careers particularly have a real impact on the course of the home, obviously. Everyone listening, like if you've gotten a good job or you've gone through a career change or your husband's gone through a career change or pay goes up or pay goes down
Mhm.
or if he goes back to school or any of those things, I think health and careers have a way of just forcing the home to reorient
Mhm.
in a way that nothing else quite does. I mean, it's like that is just kind of where the rubber meets the road in a real way in terms of just practical application of buying groceries,
They can't be ignored.
schedule.
Other stuff
They
you can
can't be
like
ignored.
back burner, back burner. You can function in the overwhelm and not address things the way they need to be addressed, but those two things are in your face.
And when those two things are in your face, you're not thinking about, did I work out today?
Mhm.
Like, when was the last time I washed my curtains? Like, you know, when things are orderly and calm, those are the kinds of things. And that's the level of homemaking. I really enjoy the times when I get to be at that level,
Yeah.
but that's not all the time.
Yeah.
And when I'm not able to be in that level, sometimes that's because I'm being lazy and I'm not prioritizing things the way I should. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's because there are bigger fish to fry.
Mhm.
And so I think it's important for the homemaker too to just be encouraged like, you have a lot of control. And hopefully, if you've been listening to this podcast for 22 seasons, you've heard us say some of these things like, you can change. You have power in your home to change the atmosphere of your home like nobody else. There are so many ways that you can apply what is good and true and beautiful in your home. Opportunities for individual expression and joy and safety and all these sorts of things. Um, at the same time, there are things that happen that we don't have control over.
Mhm.
And if sometimes things feel like they're a bit on the rocks,
Mhm.
they're going to take precedent. I mean, anyone who's ever had financial problems will know you see nothing else. You see nothing else when you're going through a really stressed financial time. It's the only thing you can care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those times exist for all of us too. And so I'm sure even people listening to this, they're coming with today's baggage, and that's going to look really different for a lot of people. So
Mhm.
staying the course for them is going to look completely different than somebody who's very comfortable and retired and, you know,
Mhm.
enjoying the softness of their days. Some of us are not in those times.
I yeah, and I think it's important to remember like you can't stay the course all the time on all things. So, like to use your workout thing, like when times really get tough, you can't do all things, right? So certain things might get shelved or paused. Staying, when we say staying the course, we just don't mean giving it your all 24/7, 365 days, like go, go, go. That's not what we mean. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's wisdom and pragmatism and observation that has to come into staying the course.
Yeah. I mean, look, house house homemakers are chameleons.
Yeah.
Housemakers are chameleons.
Housemakers.
Homemakers are chameleons. We wear many hats, from nurse to teacher to lover
Mm-hmm.
to comforter to gardener to cook to cleaner. I mean, yeah. Okay. We're not done talking about this quite yet, but we're going to take a quick break and say thank you to season 22 sponsor, Branch Basics. I'm so happy to have you back for season 22 because I know so many of you have tried their products and loved them. I also know that you're going to be inside a lot more in the coming season. You're going to be preparing your home for company. And so this is such a great time for you to get started with a premium kit from Branch Basics. If you visit branchbasics.com/homemaker chic, all one word, you can get 15% off your premium starter kit. Let me tell you why you want to start with one of these kits. They are human safe, baby safe, pet safe, all plant and mineral based, all biodegradable, hypoallergenic, free of fragrance, free of hormone disruptors, free of preservatives, chemicals. These are so incredibly clean. If you don't believe me, I want you to download one of those, like, how green is this product apps on your
Mm-hmm.
phone and look it up. It is incredible, especially when you size it up against those quote clean or organic versions that you get at your grocery store. There is absolutely no comparison. So, in these kits, you get a series of bottles, one for bathrooms, one for all purpose, one for glass, even for laundry, and you get a concentrate, one big bottle of concentrate. And then all you need to do is add water up to the water line in each bottle and then add concentrate up to the concentrate line. So each of the different bottles has a slight different ratio of concentrate to water. It could not be simpler. And you get 13 full bottle refills from one bottle of concentrate.
Awesome.
It works out to be nothing. So give it a try. Branchbasics.com/homemaker chic is where you can go for 15% off.
All right. We'd also like to thank Tubes and Company for Tubes and Co. for sponsoring this season. And I want to talk to you about makeup that works for you, you know, even after you've taken it off. Okay. So if you haven't tried their liquid foundation, you got to visit tubesandco.com, or you can visit the red button on our Instagram page. The coupon code is HMC10 for 10% off. But if you haven't tried their foundation yet, here's the scoop. It is an aloe leaf Vera juice foundation with herb extracts, shea butter, and it's going to let you have the effects of softer and healthier complexion even after you take it off. So it's like working for you while it's on, and then you still get those fabulous effects once you take it off. They have bronzer, so you can layer it with a bronzer if you like to do a little contoured look, or you're like me, you're like hanging on to that
Summer
that
tan.
summer tan desperately with a vice grip, right? But this foundation, if you've never tried it, it's breathable, it's lightweight, sensitive skin. Yes, it's for you. Lasts all day. Yes, natural sun protection, easy to apply, really smooth, and it doesn't cause breakouts or crease. So if you're getting older and you don't like the creases, this is for you. So the reason I'm so jazzed about this is because it was sold out for summer and now it's back finally. So if you're not sure what shade to get, you can get a sample set for only $8. So I think you should definitely try that. So that's your makeup. And I want you to try more makeup, but I want you to try their liquid foundation. As far as skincare goes, I'm going to give you a really big push to try their reparative serum So you got aging skin. This is
Mm,
your new best friend. It's a
I
really high,
love
I
this.
know, right? Like
I
I need it
love
like in a
it.
pump for my body.
Uh-huh. Do you have a shampoo bottle size,
Right,
please?
exactly. It is a high concentration of amino acids and nature's retinol. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word that is nature's retinol, but it's in there, okay, to soothe your face and treat hyperpigmentation, which is something after all those babies that I struggle with. It's wonderful for reversing sun damage, healing scars, and smoothing fine lines. So I really like a skincare product that, like, when I put it on at night, I can tell in the morning. It's like a morning treat. And
Hmm.
that is the reparative serum. And it comes in a new improved bottle that has helped lower their carbon footprint, which I know they're really, really proud of. So they're
Hmm.
having a Toops anniversary on October 7th. That's their birthday. But I know this is the end of September. I still want you to visit toopsandco.com. Use our code HMC10 for 10% off. This is a company you're going to want to partner with. We're going to explore this idea more as we go for clean, effective beauty products.
There you go. So we had touched on briefly, I know you and I, the idea of what does staying the course and sort of this real life resistance or resilience rather look like. And I think we've touched on this briefly, but I think that we should tell our audience about old Ange and old Shay.
Old Ange was so poor.
I need you to know how often in my mind
Oh,
I go back to those times. I'm reading this really great book right now, and one of the quotes I highlighted last night was, "Who would Job be without his struggles?"
mm,
And if you're familiar with the story of Job in the Bible, Job is a righteous man.
I thought you said
Ho-
Joe. I was
oh,
like, Joe who? Joe Mama. I
Job,
don't know.
Job.
Job.
Um, Job is a righteous man, but Job goes through some trials. I think
Oh,
about 43
hello.
chapters of trials. Okay. He has a really hard go of it. And that's kind of the point of Job. I'm not going to
Sackcloth and
give you a
ashes style,
commentary on it.
right?
Okay.
Right.
But it made me think like who's Angela without her struggle, without those moments where you had to stay the course when there was a snowstorm and you couldn't see and you felt like you had frostbite, and, when it felt like all hope had been lost.
Yeah.
And you still kind of just trusted and stayed the course.
Mhm.
I mean, that's where like that is where the rubber meets the road in those kinds of moments. So let's tell our audience about them.
Well, I mean, it was extremely stressful for to be having all those babies and just like this was like for us, it was the whole like 2007, 2008. Like we just ate it hard, man. It was tough. The phone quit ringing. You know, we're self-employed. The phone quit ringing. Like
Yeah.
stopped. Like someone flipped a switch. Um, and that was really, really stressful. And at the same time, I was gonna I was gonna be darned if I was gonna be at the end of my finish line and not having as many children as I wanted to because of money. I'm like, no way. This is America. We'll figure something out. I don't know. But I am not going to look back and go, oh, like some air quote president's economy or whatever, some housing crash or whatever made it so that I couldn't be the mother I wanted to be. I wasn't having it. But that came with like a huge emotional price tag, physical price tag, like all of it, you know? Uh, and it was just a time of trust and a lot of stress. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not like, oh, I followed the Lord and everything was okay. No, it's not like that. Like it was really, I was, and it was still challenging.
Mhm.
um, but it came with then when it got really practical, then it came with a lot of ingenuity and a lot of like, okay, this is okay. So what about it? What if this is my life? What if this is the income level and
Yeah.
what if this is my status forever? Am I gonna like stop for me? You know, my bend is to create beauty. Am I going to not create beauty? Am I going to not figure out how to to express myself with clothing, or how to have these children, how to feed them with the convictions I have to feed them. It challenged that, like old Anne's chapter was very challenging to me, because I had to say, well, what about it? Am I going to stay the course and live according to my convictions on all fronts? Or am I going to let this take me down?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote about it once in a blog post, like Lieutenant Dan, in Forrest Gump, when he's like up in the crow's nest and he's yelling at God. And then I wasn't yelling at God like this, but it always made me laugh when he's like, it's God, when they're out in the storm, But that was my attitude to life. I'm like, you're going to have to do better, because I'm capable and I will figure this out. It doesn't mean success. It doesn't mean like I'm going to.
No, it means adaptation.
No, it means adaptation. That's just it. And then that's kind of where I got this. I think, is it a military? Is it a Marine expression? Who uses adapt and overcome? Which segment of the
It's military? I think it's Marines.
I love that. And that's where I learned that. That's when I learned that, adapt and overcome. Figure it out. And see, but we're so geared up in this country to think that overcome means becoming a multimillionaire.
Yeah. That's the goal.
No, that's not what it means. And that's not what staying the course means. Adapting and overcoming can mean survival. It can mean survival with a smile. It can mean survival crying. But it means like, this is, we've talked about, like, this is my post.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to handle it. And I'm going to keep my eyes on what I believe in. So like with me, it was like, I know I mentioned fashion, but that was, it sounds trivial, but like, I'm going to be broke and I'm going to figure it out at the thrift store. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be broke and I'm going to figure it out in the organic aisle at Aldi. Okay, I'm going to be broke and I'm going to figure it out with freaking duct tape on my Suburban, because I cannot keep the window in place, like. So the sick part of our culture is we always equate it with some sort of rags to riches. And that's really perverted. That is not safe territory. I don't think it's safe territory for the Christian at all. That's not what perseverance means, or like coming out on top or whatever.
Okay. No, in some ways, this is not biblically grounded, but like I almost think it's the opposite. Like the smaller our church is, the more I'm like, we're probably doing it right. Like if this isn't appealing to the masses,
to like everyone, right? Yeah. I get you.
Exactly. Then we're probably doing something right. But what I love the most about that period for both of us, because we were both sort of coming out of it when we became friends. We had gone through the worst of it.
Yes.
Definitely weren't out of the storm yet, but we had gone through the worst of it. Was the creativity that was born out of survival. And that is something I wouldn't want to go back there to those moments that we had. But I do relish the memories of, and that piece where you learn skills that you can't learn any other way. It's like, growing up on the streets, like those lessons don't leave you. They're always in there. They become a part of the way of how you survive, and sometimes they're things you just do to survive. So like I used to take my kids to the grocery store and we just had to kill time. Stu was working 100 hours a week. He was always gone. And I was so physically damaged after my birth that I could barely walk. So I just couldn't ever leave the house. And I would take the kids through the grocery store. We couldn't afford any of it. Our grocery budget was $35 a week. And we would go through and I would let them pick things out, fun, colorful things, and fill the cart. And then I would leave the cart and go through and get actually what we could get.
Know that. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Somebody writes and I was like, I know that cart. I just took that cart away.
It was a survival technique. It was a survival technique.
Oh my gosh, so you could lean against the cart.
I don't know what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Or I think of our homesteading dream that we had way back when, and how are we I sold a juicer that we'd been given for our wedding to buy some meat rabbits just something that the kids and I could do together. I remember putting it up on my blog and I saying, does anyone live near me in Fairhope, Alabama that has a piece of land? And sure enough, somebody did. Somebody volunteered a corner of their property so that we could have a little garden. So those are those moments. I never want to lose sight of old Shay, who could find a way. And even now that those years are in the rearview mirror, I made oatmeal the other day. There was some left over. So I added some eggs to it and some milk and some cinnamon and chopped up some fresh pears in it. Put oatmeal it in a pan, put it in the fridge, and baked it the next morning for
Heck yeah,
for
girl,
breakfast.
I do
and
that.
I was just like,
gelatinous oatmeal leftovers
makes me hot.
I got this.
It makes me hot. I'm like, you did it. It is. It's so silly, but genuinely, those are the pieces in the home that make me feel alive. Sometimes it's getting to like buy the fancy turkey or whatever for Thanksgiving. Sometimes it's making an oatmeal bake, or it's just being like, yeah, my tea towels, maybe they've got some holes, maybe they've seen better days, but they're clean and they're pressed and they're organized and stacked in this little drawer. And I'm telling you what, if you are, I know we all have bigger struggles than financial struggles, but I know, look, it's sex and money. We also know that. That covers a good portion of things people really struggle with. And I hope that people leave this season with hope. Like, I'm not just a victim of the monotony of staying the course. Because not that it's all about the journey and not the destination, but there really is a lot to be harvested in the journey. So much good stuff. So we are so looking forward to unpacking all of this with you, from support systems and working through staying the course emotionally.
Navigating burnout, fatigue. Like, how do we do that? Because sounds all really great to say, like, stay the course, but there's a whole lot there. So
whole lot there. So thanks for hanging out with us for season 22 premiere. We will be back here with you every Monday for the next 10 weeks as we march really through December, which is really exciting. So as always, you can find our sponsors over on our Instagram page. We're on Instagram at Homemaker Chic Podcast, and you can find the codes and the easy to click links right there, or you can find them in the show notes below the podcast as well. And if you would like to message us on Instagram and let us know if there's a particular topic or a particular question that you have heading into this season, please do so that we can pull from it and make sure that we're speaking to you where you need to be spoken to. There's probably a better way to say that, but
it's okay.
You get the gist.
Got it.
All right, ladies. We'll be back here with you next Monday.
All right.
Okay. Cheers.